predominantly as a consultant quantity surveyor or claims specialist consultant. Some of the landmark projects which Nas had personally been involved with are which are the Panel Second Bridge, RT3, and so on. And last, we have Mr. C.U. Carlon. He is Chartered Quantity Surveyor with over 20 years of experience in the building and infrastructure sectors across Malaysia and the Middle East. And Kalun is recognized for his expertise in construction claims and dispute resolution. Thank you, everyone. Without further ado, we will start our session and pass the floor to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BicTok 25, part of the Becomes BicTok series, where we will explore all sorts of different topics relating to dispute resolution and legal innovation. My name is Satinder Singh Sandhu, and I'm your moderator today. And the topic we are talking on today is on the use of artificial intelligence in ADR and what you need to know. As AI tools rapidly evolve, we are seeing increasing use of technology in arbitration, adjudication, mediation, and related construction dispute resolution mechanisms. Today, we are fortunate to hear from three highly experienced professionals from very diverse backgrounds who will offer their unique perspective on how AI is transforming their roles in the dispute resolution ecosystem. Our format today will be quite simple. We'll be first hearing from each of the speakers on their areas that they will be speaking on, which I will highlight slightly at the start. And we will conclude with question and answer sessions. So feel free to put up all your questions into the Q&A box, and we'll try and answer them as we end today. And finally, we'll have a short wrap-up after that. So our first speaker, we're going to start with SR Yeo Kalun. Kalun, as already introduced earlier, is a chartered quantity surveyor and very experienced with over 20 years of experience in delay analysis, forensic claims, and project advisory services. Today, Kalun will focus on how AI technologies are practically applied to streamline the evidence process in ADR. From building accurate chronologies, scanning massive volumes of site data, to extracting notices that strengthen a party's defenses. His talk includes real case studies involving dredging and tunneling projects. He will also touch on how AI enables real-time monitoring to support adjudication, enhance transparency in mediation, and address ethical and data-related risks. His insights are grounded in experience, and this promises to be a technically rich and highly applicable presentation for both construction professionals and dispute resolvers alike. Without much ado, Kalun, I pass the mic to you, and please proceed with your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Satinder, and thanks, Chuchu, for your kind introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Okay, I would like to share my slide. Okay. So I believe all of you are now looking at the first slide, presentation. Okay, today I'm here to share how AI is reshaping the way we approach ADR. So the title of my presentation today is Harnessing AI for Smarter Evidence and Early Intervention in Construction Disputes. My focus will be very practical. I will show you real-world examples, talk about ethical considerations, and explain how AI can become a real advantage for dispute professionals like us. Okay, the core idea today is simple. Dispute often fail not because of a weak case, but because of weak evidence or inefficient processes. And in ADR, whether it's arbitration, adjudication, or mediation, facts win cases. So in the next few slides, I will show how AI help us gather, organize, and present those facts in a faster, cheaper, and better way, while still keeping our professional judgment front and center. Okay, let's start with the reality. In large construction disputes, we often buried under a high document volume. Tens of thousands of emails, site diaries, drawings, meeting minutes, schedules, and manually reviewing all this can take months and is prone to errors. Worse, key facts get missed, timelines get muddled, and inconsistent narratives weaken our arguments. So this delay and confusion can severely impact adjudications and arbitration, where timeframes are tight and credibility is everything. Now, here is where AI steps in. AI tools can rapidly analyze massive document volumes, detect patterns, build chronologies, and highlight inconsistencies. For example, it can scan every Econex email, P6 program update, and Excel or PDF reports, and extract a clear and coherent storyline. It allows practitioners to focus less on data entry and more on strategy, judgment, and advocacy. So in short, AI helps us do better work faster without compromising quality. So in this slide, I will give you a real example. It's on a major dredging project. In this project, the contractor was facing millions in liquidated damages, LDs. So instead of manually reviewing years of project emails, we deploy AI tools to scan and extract all instances where constructive notice was given. So just within 1 week, not months, we built a strong defense. The AI helped uncover notices that otherwise would have been buried in thousands of emails, ultimately helping the client defeat the LD claim. So this is the power of AI when used strategically and responsibly. Another case, this involved a TBM tunnel project. TBM stands for tunnel boring machine. So the issue was delay and cost overruns linked to unforeseen ground conditions. So our team used AI to match the soil logs from site diaries with actual productivity data. So we aligned it with the baseline program to establish the relationship between poor ground conditions and lost productivity. So this strengthened the contractor's entitlement, turning a weak subjective claim into a clear objective one, so that could stand up in arbitration or adjudication. Now, let's dive into how AI supports real-time monitoring and adjudication. On active projects, AI tools can compare actual site progress with the baseline program. This identify early signs of disruption and even scan communications for potential issues. This proactive approach enables timely corrective actions, such as issuing notices or adjusting schedules, thereby preventing dispute from escalating. To illustrate this, I have a brief 2-minute demo showcasing our real-time dashboard in action. Let me click on the hyperlink to bring you to the short video. Short share first. Okay, again, I think it's better to share my screen.
Okay, yeah, we can see.
Yep. Yes. Great. Full screen and enjoy the video. Thank you for watching. Okay, let's go back to the presentation slide. Okay, now let us talk about mediation. Mediation relies heavily on transparency and goodwill. So AI can help by creating visual dashboard that summarize project performance, showing parties where costs escalated, dispute delays occurred, or communications broke down. So it provides a shared factual basis, reducing posturing and blame, and making it easier for both parties to focus on solutions. AI doesn't just help win claims, it helps prevent disputes or resolve them amicably. Of course, AI is not perfect. We need to use it responsibly. First, garbage in, garbage out. AI is only as good as the data it receives. Second, human judgment must stay central. AI finds patterns, but it doesn't understand fairness, legal context, or strategy. Third, confidentiality. It is critical. We must protect sensitive data and disclose when AI has been used in document preparation or drafting. The Chartered Institute of Arbitrators recently issued the 2025 guidelines on AI in arbitration. It encouraged disclosure and setting ethical boundaries. The responsibility remains with humans. No delegation of decision making, respect for confidentiality should mitigate algorithmic bias. I believe these guidelines are not barriers, they are enablers. They support the use of AI responsibly, transparently, and ethically to improve arbitration without undermining its core principles. Beyond document review, AI and automation are changing how companies manage day-to-day operations too. Take payroll and invoicing as an example. One of our clients, managing 700 workers across 60 sites, automated their payroll system and saved over 500 hours per month and recover an additional 500,000 Aussie dollars lost to manual processing errors. So more efficient systems mean fewer administrative mistakes, and that translates into fewer disputes over time. This shows that technology investment not only pay off operationally, they reduce legal risk as well. In closing, AI is not here to replace arbitrators, educators, mediators, lawyers, or other professionals. It is here to help us work smarter, focusing our time and expertise where it matters most, on judgment, advocacy, and achieving fair outcomes. Those who embrace AI early will gain a significant strategic advantage, not just in preparing claims or defenses, but in controlling costs, timelines, and risks across the dispute resolution lifecycle. The future of ADR is not man or machine. It is man and machine working together. So thank you very much. I look forward to your questions and hearing your views on how AI can and should be adopted in our ADR practices. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Galvin. It was very interesting to see those practical examples and the demonstration on the visual dashboard that you did. Thank you so much for that. And now we know that we can actually use it as a beneficial tool to assist in claims and ADR. Now we'll move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is SR Naz Rahim, and she's a very experienced quantity surveyor and contract administrator, and has been working in various different jurisdictions over the years. Her session is entitled The Nuances of AI in Contract Management. She'll be drawing on real-life applications and contract lifecycle experiences to discuss AI's role in clause detection, anomaly flagging, automation of review tasks, and predictive contract analysis. She will also raise concerns about AI's limitations, particularly where machine learning falls short in interpreting nuances and contractual intent, as well as commercial risk. I would like to invite Naz Rahim now to get into a very interesting talk. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Satinder. All right. Hello, everyone. Just quickly share this. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Naz Rahim, and I'm a quantity surveyor who actually moved to the dark side, which is claims, contract, and dispute. I believe Surveyor Kalun, you've moved to the dark side as well, right? Compared to quantity surveying mainstream. Right. So my topic of today is the nuances of AI in contract management. And this topic is very interesting to me. And this is because all the while, in my mind, the topic talks about ADR, alternative dispute resolution. So it gives me an impression as if we talk about ADR when dispute happened. So my approach is a little bit different. I want to take a step back and think, what if there's no dispute? How can we avoid dispute? And hence, the big question is to dispute or not to dispute. I think it's fair to say all of us in this forum, probably from construction backgrounds, and we've seen all this timeline from pre-contract until contract until completion of the project. And if you believe it or not, at every step of the way, there will be issues. It's a matter of whether we realize it or not. So if you look at my slide, there's two big round, and the first yellowish brownish color, I call it pre-contract stage, and the blue color, I call it the post-contract stage. And I believe in these two stages, there is potential issues that could lead to dispute. And what can we do about it? And how can we use AI to prevent this from happening? Well, as I said, I'm a quantity surveyor who moved into the darkest side of the industry, which is claims, contract, and dispute. Of course, dispute means business to somebody like me, claims consultant, but that's not the point. The point is, my personal view is that in every single commission, the ultimate goal is to avoid dispute from the very beginning. So that should be the way. I know this statement may not be good to Dana and Satinder, the lawyers, but this is my humble view. We should avoid dispute from the very beginning. Now, so remember we talked about nuances. Nuances. Well, I don't want to claim that I am an AI expert, which I'm not. I'm just a claim specialist. I know what claims are. I know how to deal with claims, but I may know some technology that I can use to help me with my work to be more efficient. But if you think about it, this whole AI is not a new concept. We talk about it all the time, but the question is, do we really know how it works, how it really helps us in our everyday tasks? So nuances, I love the word nuances because it gives an implication, or it implies certain things can be done. And from this slide onwards, I will tell you, I will make you realize that in our everyday life, especially in construction, you can actually apply AI to make things more efficient for you. So let's see how that works, okay? Right, I really like this slide. This young lady trying to jump off a cliff, taking risks. So to me, these are all possibilities. So that's why I put here, imagine all possibilities, what AI can do. If we really understand the processes that will shape the way we deal with pre-contract and post-contract stage, and how we can apply AI in every step of the way and try to avoid dispute altogether, it will be wonderful, isn't it? So let's see what are the nuances we can apply from AI into our typical day-to-day tender processes, which is a pre-contract and also post-contract stages. All right, let's start off with pre-contract. So pre-contract, I always believe pre-contract mostly about tender. That is when all the design team, the client will come together and think about how best to put a tender so that we can send it to a contractor to price and get the best tender for our project. So to me, tender stage is the most crucial. And believe it or not, many years ago, I was in Ireland. That was sometime in 2006, 2007, 2009. And Ireland being one of the EU nation, they have this public works procurement principles where in every public works tender, everything that goes out for tender must comply with this 5 principles. They call it equal treatment, transparency, non-discrimination, open competition, proportionality, and all these principles must be reflected in tender documents, in the drawings, in the way you assess the tender. And those days, there were no AI per se, but just imagine we are doing this manually to making sure that all these principles are being complied with. And with the use of AI, I think it can help to smoothen the process very much. I'll tell you how that can be done. And interestingly, I also found out that in Malaysia, we also have our own public works procurement principle, exactly the same principle. We got public accountability, transparency, value for money, open and fair competition, and fair dealing. So just imagine if we have a system in place that can ensure all these principles are being met. The tender that goes out and the winning tender is 100% audit proof. But of course, we always be doing things so manually. And with the aid of AI, I'm very sure all the processes can be more efficient. And with regards to tendering, as an example, if you have an expected result, like meeting all these principles value, AI can be set to help us to achieve all this objective. Let's see. All right, so the first one, okay, tender document. You know, I'm a quantity surveyor. I worked with US firm for the first 10 years of my career. And one of the tasks that I find very challenging is to compile or to prepare tender document. And the reason for that is just one, actually a couple of reasons, but the key ones are, number one, we always have not much time to do it. And we have to collaborate multiple stakeholders to come together and produce a tender. When I said multiple stakeholder, it means the designers, you got engineers, you got architects, you got everybody. And as quantity surveyor, I have to make sure these differences are being compiled into one single document. It's a challenge. Just imagine we're doing this manually. And if you think about it, imagine if we have AI to help us to sing all of this together smoothly. So the first one, just imagine, this is what we call nuances number one, automated document review. If we have an AI that can actually scan every single document from the quantity surveyors, from the architects, from the engineers, the designers, everyone, scan it and make sure that these documents are aligned with one another. There's no discrepancies with one another. How wonderful is that? And number two, automated compliance and standardization. This is very crucial. I always believe tender document sets the foundation of a proper contract document in future. If you have an AI, just imagine AI can go through your tender document, the whole lot, not just the BQ, but everything from tender instruction, the specifications, the instruction to tenderers, everything all together, and flag what are the gaps, what are the missing link, or what are the clashes in the document. We talk about BIM, and BIM talks about design. Imagine if we have a BIM-like support that can actually go through tender document and identify all these clashes. So this is what in my view, nuances relating to risk assessment and mitigation that an AI can actually help us when it comes to tender document. Next one, tendering stage. This is also a very crucial stage. Do you know what I think? Not just preparing the tender is very challenging for a quantity surveyor, but the tendering stage itself is also very important. If you are in construction, you will know that tendering stage usually where the contractors will go through all the documents and they will start to ask questions. Remember, if we go back to the principles of public works procurement, transparency, equal treatment, etc., the idea of tendering stage, especially when it comes to tender queries, we must make sure everyone being treated equally. So if contractor A asks a question, and we must make sure this question is shared with everyone so that everybody sits on a similar footprint. So now the nuances comes in. Imagine if you have an AI that can help you with live tender assistant instead of having a person like quantity surveyor on standby to receive those emails, those faxes. If you have a chat box for queries, like a virtual person on a particular website that addresses all these queries, and that chatbot can actually give answers almost instantly to the bidders. And not just that, it can also address the questions and answers to everyone. Everyone will get it in real time. How wonderful is that? I'm very sure if this platform is available, if it's already available, you have to let me know because I need to check it out. It will ease up the tendering stage when it comes to handling queries from contractors. And not just that, just imagine another nuances of AI, dynamic pricing and cost estimation. Do you know one of the challenge as quantity surveyor when we are preparing tender is to make sure we prepare the best estimate ever. So if we have a real-time market analysis, just imagine an AI giving us guidance. Hey, this is the latest market rates for this kind of item, or this is the price trend for this kind of item. And I'm sure this will make our pretend estimate one of the best or one of the most precise for the particular project. Okay. And of course, data-driven criteria optimization. This is another nuances. I like this a lot. Historical data analysis. Imagine if you have an AI that can analyze all the tenders that you have in your database for the same project, for the same nature of work. And from the data that the AI analyzed, it gave you some key tips, key heads up. Okay, if you want to have a tender that addresses this key point, you must make sure this ABC is included in your tender. Just imagine if this is available now. Like I said, if you already come across this kind of technology, you need to let me know so I can check it out myself. Right, tender assessment. To me, tender assessment is very important. I give you an example why. When I was in Ireland many years ago, we did tender assessment for a public works. When I say public work, it means the tender, which is advertised using EU money. And this tender assessment is available to all EU members, contractors from every country is part of the EU. Okay. So when we do tender assessment, we will give reasons for the tender. And the unique thing about this tender assessment under the EU principle is that the contractor can come back to us and ask why did we score them certain percentage, or why did we reject their tender, etc. And even better with the EU system, the assessor, especially quantity surveying firm who assess the tender, has to be answerable to the EU committee. So it has to, to demonstrate, we need to demonstrate the highest independent assessment when it comes to public works. So imagine, again, another nuances, if you have an AI that can help you to tackle this tender assessment, that can actually promote the highest level of transparency, equality, wouldn't that be wonderful? So I've done some research and I believe there are ways AI can actually help. Number one, again, data-driven. One of the ways is having a benchmarking. AI will be able to gather as much data as possible. And it can set what are the key criteria for a successful tender. What would be the main factor that we need to look at when we try to award this tender to a particular contractor? Okay, and of course, predictive analytics. AI can actually, when you do tender assessment, you not just check the commercial, but you also check the technical capability of that contractor. And if you have an AI that can do that, and it will smoothen the process, there will be less dispute because the AI will be so objective by giving assessment or giving evaluation on the contractors' financial stability, their past experience, etc. Okay. And to me,
I might have to get you to rush along a bit.
Okay. Sorry, it's too
just
long,
to
is
stay
it?
within the time. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's standard assessment. Yeah, I got carried away when I talk about nuances. Right. Okay, post-contract stage. Right, to me, post-contract stage, the most important is contract management. And there are three things that we need to look at. Time, cost, quality. This is textbook, TCQ. We also need to take care of the stakeholders' relationship. And last but not least, risk management. And let's check out what AI can do in terms of risk management. Of course, you got AI. I think, Surveyor Kalu, you mentioned it in one of your case study. You have used an AI as support to actually go through all the clauses and flag the notices, etc. Exactly the same in this context. And what I love the most about this is also the risk prediction. Okay, so just imagine an AI going through your contract document and flag out what are the risk clauses or the ambiguities that could be in your contract document. If you flag that as early as possible, you will reduce or minimize potential dispute in future. Stakeholders relationship, and my favorite for this is actually sentiment analysis. You have an AI that can actually monitors how the tone of emails and letters that going in and out. And from that tone, the AI can give you some idea whether this project is going into dispute or parties are still in friendly relationship. If we have this kind of capability, it will be very, very useful. Okay. Right. Last but not least, the TCQ, time, cost, and quality. This is something that we always take care when it comes to project time, cost, and quality. And just imagine nuances of AI. Number one, most of this have been shared by Surveyor Kahlun in his case studies. And what I like the most is the lesson learned database. A lot of time when we deal with clients, we found out people come to us with similar issues. So it keep on repeating. So my question would be, don't people learn? I guess they probably did, but maybe there's no structured way. There's no database to actually tell them, okay, this is the usual issues that will happen in this kind of project or this kind of procurement, as an example. So if you have an AI that can actually gather all this for your lesson learned, it'll be wonderful. And of course, I want to touch last one, the fraud prevention. Okay, so AI to detect irregularities like double claim or claiming more than what you should in terms of work done or overstifying. If this AI nuances can be applied in your payment processes, as example, this will help to reduce any payment disputes risk in future. All right. Okay. Well, I guess that's all. Sorry for taking too much time.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay, no problem. Thanks all.
That was a very interesting take. Basically looking at how to solve the problem before it becomes a problem using AI. Thank you so much for that. Okay, next we're going to go to Dana, and she is Singapore-based lawyer. She deals a lot with different types of international construction and commercial disputes. Dana, in her talk, is going to examine how AI is currently used in arbitration proceedings, from document review, evidence analysis, legal research to automation of procedural tasks. She will also highlight bias, confidentiality issues, and also look into the emerging regulatory frameworks, including CIARB's 2024 guidelines on the use of AI in arbitration. Thank you, Dana. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Satinder. Thank you, everyone, for being here today at today's webinar. Before I continue, just doing a sound check that you can hear me loud and clear.
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Satinder. Good evening, everyone. So my presentation today will be split into 3 broad segments. In my first segment, I'll be covering how is AI deployed in arbitrations. So on this topic, generally, from my perspective, AI is deployed in arbitrations in 4 different ways, right? The first part is on document review and evidence analysis. The second is on legal research and case preparation. And the third is helping the virtual hearing integration process. And then finally, you have data analytics and decision support. On document review and evidence analysis, essentially, AI can streamline the review of large volumes of documents, identify relevant evidence, and flag inconsistencies or patterns. And traditional electronic data review platforms generally adopt OCR systems, but they often struggle with recognizing text from various fonts, handwritings, or low-quality scans. So what AI can do is to significantly improve accuracy in these areas and to offer efficiency over manual or traditional electronic review platforms. AI can also assist in identifying relevant documents, redacting sensitive information, and sorting out privileged or confidential documents that are not fit for production. And nowadays, legal technology companies have evolved to become rather sophisticated, and they have developed some ways of identifying a witness's involvement in specific events, process interview memoranda, and even compare witness statements for inconsistencies. And the second sort of usage for AI in arbitrations is legal research and case preparation. So AI-powered platforms can enable rapid access to case law, precedents, and arbitration rules, therefore reducing the need for extensive legal research. And there are very powerful tools out there. This is not an endorsement, just some select tools that I have played with. These tools like Lex Machina and Solomonic, they offer sophisticated insights into extensive judgment databases. So for example, Lex Machina, it's pretty interesting. It analyzes court decisions, judges, and opposing counsels, and offers you statistics on the number of wins and losses by different opposing counsels before which particular judge. So it's quite an interesting database. And Solomonic monitors recent developments, compiles insights into smart summaries, and then predicts outcomes based on past precedents. Other than legal research, of course, AI that are similar to ChatGPT, they can provide case summaries and can summarize very complex legal concepts and even provide a preliminary draft of legal submissions. So AI can actually really cut down the workload of lawyers in preparing cases more efficiently. Now, on procedural aspects, AI can help with routine tasks, for example, scheduling hearings, generating procedural orders, which are fairly standard, managing procedural timelines, and at the virtual hearing, it can also provide real-time transcription, translation, other support functions, enhancing procedural efficiency and accessibility. So in an arbitration last year, I've actually used an AI platform for hosting documents and transcription during a hearing. It was the first time that I was using an AI platform. The accuracy was pretty high for a transcription that was done by a computer. And of course, with AI transcription, you don't need to have regular breaks, unlike in the case of a human transcriber. And finally, AI in arbitrations can be used for outcome prediction as well as risk assessments. So AI can analyze past arbitration awards and predict potential outcomes and assess risks, therefore giving clients insights on how they should best strategize for their case. Recently, Singapore held our general election, right? And someone built an AI platform to predict results of the general election. I was curious about this platform, so I took a look at the parameters and look at what was fed into this system. So it was interesting because what had been done was that it had fed into the system online social media comments as well as news online. And I was surprised at the outcome because it was about 99% accurate in terms of predicting the results for the general election. And I must say that in that context and looking at how arbitrations could potentially have that same sort of platform, I do think that there's going to be a lot of potential for data analytics as well as decision support for AI in arbitration. Now, on a related note, AI tools can also assist arbitrators by providing them sort of a sense check, statistical insights based on training data that has been fed into the system, especially in cases with extensive case law and where there are repeated factual scenarios. So what about the limitations and risks of AI in arbitration? First off, of course, we have ethical and procedural concerns. There are deep fakes around, and evidence integrity can be compromised, especially when there are all these issues. And then it could undermine the integrity of the arbitration process. There can be questions about the accountability of an AI tool, especially when it produces harmful outputs, particularly in high-stakes arbitrations. Then the other concern, of course, is bias and fairness concerns. AI tools can inadvertently amplify certain biases present in training data, such as cultural or gender biases, which could affect perceptions of fairness in arbitration. And then this could lead to perceptions of unfairness, particularly in cross-border arbitrations, and reinforce stereotypes when you're using it for arbitrator selection. Then there's confidentiality risks. Arbitration processes are often chosen for their confidentiality. And the use of AI tools then raises concerns about protecting sensitive data and ensuring that the AI platforms are secure from cyber attacks or data breaches. And of course, you have enforceability of the award. That's another problem when you use AI. If an arbitrator uses an AI tool to assist in the decision-making process, and this results in a huge amount of copy and paste, then any subsequent award could be challenged on the ground that due process had not been followed. So recently, in the Court of Appeal of Singapore, there was a decision that was upheld to set aside an international arbitration award that was handed down by the former Chief Justice of India because he copied 212 out of 451 paragraphs from his own earlier decisions that he had decided. But that had compromised the process because essentially such extensive copying and pasting meant that he breached fundamental principles of natural justice as it did not account for the differences in facts, contract, and arguments. So the use of AI tools could carry that similar risk as well. Then you have accuracy and reliability concerns. AI tools can produce errors due to flawed algorithms, incomplete databases, and biases in training data. So these sort of accuracies could compromise the arbitration process, especially when you do not have thorough human oversight to verify the accuracy. And when there's over-reliance on AI, then this creates diminished critical judgment and legal reasoning therefore leading to, again, flawed outcomes in arbitral awards. At this point in time, AI is not quite able to perform cognitive reasoning and cannot render decisions based on the unique circumstances of the case. So reliance on historical data may also restrict the evolution of the law by discouraging novel legal arguments. And on this final note, AI at this point in time is not regulated, right? There are no currently universally accepted standards governing the use of AI in arbitration. So this creates an air of uncertainty regarding the admissibility of AI-generated evidence or outputs and can complicate the integration of AI into arbitration processes. But the silver lining is that I do think that in the long run, there's going to be increased adoption and integration of AI in arbitration. It cannot be ignored. So I expect that AI is going to be an integral part of procedural and substantive arbitration tasks, such as document review, legal research, hearing transcription, and case preparation. And I also think that AI systems are going to evolve and be designed for specific industries. You've heard what Nas and Kalun have mentioned about the use of AI in the construction industry. I do think that there will be AI systems that will be developed to address unique complexities like project delays, technical standards, and contractual intricacies. And for those that are already developed, there's going to be continued refinement of all these systems. And all these AI-powered tools can offer real-time monitoring, for example, using drones or cameras to monitor the project site. And in the end, you could actually end up with a swift resolution of emerging issues instead of leaving till the very end for the issues to be resolved. And secondly, I do think that there's going to be a lot of development of AI-specific guidelines. You're going to see a lot more emerging frameworks. You're going to see global harmonization of different frameworks, different laws. At this point in time, we are guided by arbitral guidelines. For example, the CIArb guidelines. Kalun mentioned this earlier. Essentially, it's a set of guidelines that have highlighted the benefits of AI, as well as the risks of using AI in arbitration. And also, it provides insights and practical tips on how best to mitigate the risks of AI in the arbitration process from both an arbitrator's standpoint as well as a user's standpoint. And then, of course, you have the IBA rules that are now the IBA that has now formed a AI task force, essentially, to provide some kind of guidance on the regulation of AI and its impact on the legal profession and the best practices for bar associations. So essentially, these sort of arbitral guidelines are meant to address concerns about security, confidentiality, fairness, and party autonomy. And I do think that in terms of legal framework, you're going to see more evolving legal frameworks. I mean, at this point in time, the EU has already enacted the first legal framework on AI. And then countries such as the US, specifically California, and other countries such as Brazil and Canada, they have already enacted laws and regulations targeting the use of AI. So it's not going to be very long later before other countries are going to catch up in terms of these sort of frameworks. And then you have on a more legal sort of platform, you're going to have national bar associations that are going to come up with their own guidance to guide lawyers. So, for example, the American Bar Association has already released a formal opinion emphasizing ethical obligations for lawyers and law firms and what they need to watch out for when they're using AI. So, what about AI as an arbitrator? I do think that there is scope for that. Probably not just now. First off, AI can be used to select an arbitrator. I mean, currently the selection is done by parties or by arbitral institutions. There have been discussions on the use of AI to select arbitrators who may be sympathetic to a party's cause or who may have the right expertise for a particular case. And this has followed the trialing of using AI in jury selection processes. One difficulty, of course, with using AI to select an arbitrator is that the lack of data on various arbitrators' prior decisions. Because as we all know, arbitral decisions are confidential. So there could be this sort of incomplete data sets that are placed in an AI tool, for example. So because of that, at this stage, AI cannot effectively select an arbitrator. And of course, there are challenges to full replacement of an arbitrator in terms of deciding a full case. The idea of AI arbitrators, as I mentioned earlier, raises questions about impartiality, reasoning, and enforceability of awards. So while AI can assist in assessing case merits or predicting outcomes based on precedents, it doesn't have the ability to assess live evidence, balance fine legal arguments, and apply deep critical thinking. But that said, I do think that AI-generated awards still serve as a useful tool. It can provide sort of a sense check against known precedents and help parties to focus on the strengths and weaknesses of their case. And it could even lead to early settlement. So just a couple of closing thoughts. I do think that AI presents in itself significant opportunities that we should definitely tap on to reduce costs in construction arbitrations and to improve efficiency as well, because cost has always been a problem in construction arbitrations. Of course, bearing in mind and knowing that there are limitations to AI, and importantly, knowing what kind of AI tools, what kind of parameters, and what kind of training data set has been fed into the system, if possible, so that there is a full sort of understanding in terms of the AI usage, right? And the other thing is that the arbitration community must continue to work together to develop robust frameworks to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically as well. So in conclusion, AI can enhance efficiency, and I'm a proponent of the use of AI. But at the end of the day, we need to ensure that when used in arbitrations, they have to still uphold key principles of arbitration, such as impartiality, fairness, and the ability to tailor to the unique circumstances of the case. So with that, I conclude, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dana. I'm with you. I think we have no choice. There will be an increased use and increased adoption of AI in all fields, including arbitration. And of course, there will be needs for more rules, regulations to create a proper framework for AI to be used responsibly and ethically. Okay, let's try to get a few questions in before we stop. We actually already passed the 6:30 timeline, but let's try to get two questions I've already seen in the chat. The first one is for Kalun. Is the confidentiality of data uploaded for AI analysis guaranteed? This is from Daniel Tan.
Okay. Thanks, Daniel, for the questions. So the confidentiality part, so it is our reverse, and most of the time we sign a non-disclosure agreement and which contain confidentiality clauses with our clients. So for all the data that we receive from the client, we will treat it in a very confidential manner. Once the task, once the project, on the job are completed, so we will disclose the construction data and all the information that we receive from the client. So this is on the human part to control. to maintain the confidentiality.
Yep. I just want to add on a bit to that, Colin.
Yep.
I mean, we have to be more careful when it comes to open AI kind of platforms where the data is shared with everyone. I guess what you are trying to say is we have to look at more custom AI platforms where security is more guaranteed and there is probably some sort of agreement signed to ensure the confidentiality.
Yep.
Correct? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, let's get another question. Also from Daniel Tan, this time to Nas. Do you think AI is now ready to assist Malaysian contractors in comprehensively preparing tenders or bids? Or does AI need more time to compile further data for this purpose to work properly?
Thanks, Satinder. I wonder whether Daniel Tan is an AI chatbot. He already asked 2 questions. Well, Daniel, my answer to this, we got BIM. I believe BIM will address the complexities of the design department of the tender. And of course, it's not complete just by relying on BIM because tender has so many components to it. I do believe the merchant contractor ready, but it also depends on how much they are willing to invest on technology. So it's a 50-50. Those with bigger bank reserve would be able to do that, but generally may need more time. So it's not so much on data, but it's so much, to me, it's more to how much more you are willing to spend to invest on technology. So that's my take on this question.
Right, thank you, Das. Maybe I'll pose one to Dana as well. I was very interested in the way you described the types of AI that you had used in your arbitration processes, including you said you used AI in one of the arbitration. So, well, can you give us a bit more description on what kind of AI was deployed and how did it assist you, and how much more benefits we can get from it?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Satinder. So the AI that I was using, I mean, most of the time you would use a traditional human transcriber, right? And the human transcriber will be transcribing, and then as the documents are being called out, those will be connected with what the transcriber is typing. So essentially, when you review the transcripts later on, you can actually click back to see what documents have been called out and what was said by the particular witness in that context. And what I had experienced in this platform that I had used was very, very different. Essentially, it was just a computer that was sitting there and just listening to the witness. Of course, it was spoken into a mic. And then the computer was just typing out on the screen everything that was said. And it also had that same platform where it could actually connect to documents that were called out. So essentially, instead of having a human transcriber, you just have a live screen that's just listening in on the various witness testimony and then transcribing. And what was really interesting was that that particular arbitration was an international arbitration. So there were witnesses with different accents, but the tool could still pick out, what was being said at a very high level of accuracy. And by high, I would say about 80% or so. And after that, when, of course, there will be a human person who will, in the back end, actually just check through the transcripts to ensure, ensure that corrections are made. It's quite typical. Even with a human transcriber, you have to have someone in the back end doing the checking as well. But at my thinking is that at this point in time, with the AI transcriber, it's still not as accurate as a human. In the sense that I would say the accuracy is about 80%, but if you use a human transcriber, it could go up to about 90 plus. So I guess it's a trade-off, and maybe in time the tool will get better. But it does offer some cost savings, so it really depends on what you want to pay for.
I think cost savings and also time, because we get it quite quickly,
Yes.
That's what I found, that when we use AI transcribing, yes, not as accurate, but we get the information very quickly. Unlike an interpreter or someone from court who has to transcribe, you have to wait and you have to pay. So yeah, that's the
Yes.
benefit. I'm just going to ask
Yes.
one or two questions more to you guys. Kalun, this is to you. How do you see the role of AI evolving in ADR over the next 5 to 10 years?
Thanks, Sarinda. That's a great forward-looking question. I believe AI will become a standard support tool across all stages of ADR. It is from the early case assessment to evidence management, even assisting tribunals in organizing facts. Yeah, this has just been shared by Jana just now. So we will also see more predictive analytics using historical data to predict outcomes or settlement values, supporting strategy decisions. But I still don't see AI replacing arbitrators, mediators, or adjudicators. So dispute resolution is not just technical, it's human. So I don't think judgment, negotiation, and fairness are replaceable. So the future belongs to those who blend human expertise with AI capabilities. So using machines for what they are good at and human for what truly matters.
Right, I think that's a very nice place to stop today. Let me just summarize and give a bit of insight of my own. First of all, thank you guys. Thank you to all three of you once again. This is the second time we have done this together. It was a pleasure always, last time as well as this time working with you. Now, we can see from what Kalun has said, AI tools can assist with early detection of construction disputes by analyzing project data in real time and help issues before they escalate. Naz has gone even further. She's seen how we can prevent disputes from arising if we deploy AI properly. And Dana has given us a very practical insight on the actual uses of AI and the problems, potential risks that we may face, and how we can solve it if we have proper framework, regulatory law framework. Now, I just want to share a personal anecdote of mine. I attended the Borneo Arbitration Week last week, and I heard a keynote address by Lena Chan, a barrister and founder of an AI-powered platform, MIAI Law. Her talk was provocatively entitled "A World Without Lawyers." Okay, but her conclusion was actually quite the opposite. She said AI is an excellent legal assistant, but not a replacement for professionals. So at the end of the day, whatever insights AI provides, whether in research, contract management, or dispute prediction, it must be reviewed, like what all of you have said, whether in research, contract management, or dispute prediction. It must be reviewed, verified, and guided by a human. So the key takeaway from today's discussion is AI is here. It's already changing the way we manage contracts and resolve disputes, but it's not magic. It's not a magic wand. It's a tool, a powerful one, that works when guided by human insight. Those of us in the ADR community must embrace AI, but also develop the skills to supervise it responsibly. Thank you again to our speakers. Thank you for everyone attending today. And thank you for BICM to hosting this event. All right, good evening. Thank you, guys.
Everyone. All the best.
Thank you,
Thank
Peter.
you,
so
everyone.
much.
Have a great evening. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.